The morning started like any other at the Wildlife Rehabilitation Center. Tom Walker stood at his usual spot, feeding a young eagle that had been rescued last week. The bird's wing was healing well, and Tom could sense its growing strength through their daily interactions. 20 years of working with animals had given him an almost supernatural ability to understand their needs and emotions. Little did he know that this ordinary morning would change the course of human history forever. The first sign something was different came when all the animals in the center suddenly went quiet. The usual chorus of bird calls, dog barks, and various animal sounds fell silent at once. Tom felt the eagle tense under his touch, its head turning sharply toward the sky. That's when they appeared. 3 massive ships, each the size of a small city, materializing through the clouds above every major continent. The sight was both beautiful and terrifying. Their surfaces gleamed like liquid metal in the morning sun, reflecting light in ways that seemed to defy physics. The world held its breath. Unlike the chaos depicted in movies, the first contact was surprisingly orderly. The aliens had done their homework. They broadcast their peaceful intentions in every human language simultaneously, and their message was simple. They were representatives of the Galactic Federation, and they had been watching Earth for some time. What happened next shocked everyone. Instead of asking to meet with world leaders first, they requested to observe human wildlife experts, veterinarians, and animal trainers at work. Their interests seemed oddly specific, almost urgent. Tom was feeding the recovering eagle when they arrived at his center. 3 tall beings stepped out of what looked like a floating bubble of light. Their appearance was surprisingly elegant. They stood upright like humans, but had smooth, pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer. Their eyes were large and dark, filled with intelligence and curiosity. The leader introduced himself simply as Ambassador Dal. His universal translator converted his musical language into clear English. "We have traveled far to confirm what we thought impossible," he said, watching Tom work with the eagle. "Please, continue your tasks. Pretend we are not here." Tom nodded and returned to his work. He spoke softly to the eagle, feeling its anxiety about the strange visitors. "It's okay, friend. They won't hurt you. Easy now." The bird gradually relaxed, trusting Tom's gentle words and calm energy. The alien's reaction was extraordinary. They moved forward as one, their large eyes growing even wider. Ambassador Dal made a sound that his translator didn't quite catch. "Impossible," he whispered. The legends were true. Tom carefully settled the eagle back in its enclosure before turning to face them. "What's impossible?" "In all our travels across 12,000 civilizations," Ambassador Dal explained, "we have never encountered a species that could communicate with non-sentient creatures. Yet here you are, calming a wild predator with nothing but your presence and voice. We've been watching Earth for months, and we've seen countless examples. Humans training dogs, riding horses, rehabilitating wild animals. You don't just domesticate them, you understand them." Tom smiled, thinking this must be some kind of joke. But surely other species must be able to do this. It's not that special. The third alien stepped forward, her movements graceful but excited. "You don't understand. We can't do this. No one can. We've tried for millennia to connect with animals on our worlds. The most advanced civilizations in the galaxy have attempted it. Yet somehow your species does it naturally, instinctively. That's why we're here," Ambassador Dal continued. "We need your help. Humanity's unique ability might be the key to solving ecological crises across the galaxy. Would you be willing to share your knowledge with us?" Tom looked around at his rehabilitation center, at the animals he had dedicated his life to helping. Each one had a story, a personality, feelings that he could somehow sense and understand. He had never thought of this ability as anything special. It was just part of being human. Now, standing before representatives of an advanced galactic civilization, he realized that humanity's greatest gift might not be its technology or intelligence, but its simple ability to connect with other living beings. "Yes," Tom answered, feeling the weight of the moment. "We would be honored to help." The eagle called out from its enclosure, a cry that seemed to seal the historic agreement. A new chapter in human history had begun, and it started not with war or fear, but with humanity's deepest connection to the natural world. 2 weeks after first contact, Tom found himself in a place he never expected to be. A massive alien research facility built overnight in the Arizona desert. The building looked like flowing water frozen in time, its walls shimmering under the hot sun. Scientists from Earth and across the galaxy had gathered to study humanity's unique ability to communicate with animals. Tom sat in a large white room, his German Shepherd Max lying calmly at his feet. Through a clear wall, alien researchers watched with endless fascination as Tom put Max through basic training exercises. "Sit," Tom said gently. Max sat. "Roll over." Max rolled over. "Go find the red ball." Max trotted off and returned with exactly the right ball from a pile of differently colored ones. Simple tricks to any human dog owner, but to the aliens, it was like watching magic. Ambassador Dell entered the room, accompanied by a group of beings from different worlds. Some floated, some walked on multiple legs, but all shared the same look of wonder. "What you just witnessed," Dal explained to his colleagues, "is impossible by everything we know about brain science. The dog not only understands basic commands but can interpret complex ideas like specific colors and objects. No technology we have can achieve this level of cross-species communication." One of the floating aliens moved forward, its translucent body pulsing with light. "Perhaps it's just this specific animal species. Dogs might have been engineered for this purpose." Tom shook his head. "It's not just dogs. Humans can do this with almost any animal, though some are easier to communicate with than others. We've trained birds, elephants, dolphins, even insects like bees. Any animal that has a brain can form some level of connection with us." To prove his point, Tom walked over to a terrarium where a small garden snake lived. He gently lifted the snake, speaking to it softly. The snake, instead of showing fear or aggression, calmly wrapped around his arm, tasting the air with its tongue. The alien scientists rushed to their instruments, measuring everything they could. Their excitement filled the room like electricity. "Incredible," one of them exclaimed. "The snake's stress hormones actually decreased when the humans started speaking to it. This shouldn't be possible." Further tests revealed even more surprises. When humans worked with animals, both species showed matching patterns in their brainwaves. It was as if they were operating on the same frequency, sharing a basic form of emotional communication that went beyond simple training. "Look at this brain scan." A multi-armed alien scientist pointed to a glowing display. "Humans have an extra neural network that seems to process animal emotions and body language. It's like they have a built-in universal translator for all Earth life." Tom watched as more results came in. Humans could detect when animals were sick or injured before showing obvious symptoms. They could sense incoming natural disasters by reading unusual animal behavior. They could even help calm aggressive animals without any special equipment or powers, just through their presence and voice. But how did humans get this ability? Ambassador Dell wondered aloud. "It's too complex to have evolved by chance." An older alien in the group shifted uncomfortably. "There are legends," it said slowly. "Stories of an ancient race who could speak with all living things. They vanished long ago, but some say they left their gift behind, hidden in the genes of promising species." The room grew quiet as everyone considered this possibility. Could humans be carrying the legacy of an ancient, powerful race? Tom looked down at Max, who wagged his tail and licked his hand. Whatever the source of their ability, it was clear that humans had something special. Not advanced weapons, not faster than light travel, but something perhaps even more valuable: the power to understand and connect with other living beings. As the sun set over the desert facility, casting long shadows through the crystalline walls, Tom realized that humanity's greatest strength had been with them all along. They just needed someone else to help them see it. "Tomorrow," Ambassador Dal announced, We begin the real work. There's a crisis on Proxima B that needs humanity's unique touch. Tom nodded, ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. With Max by his side, and this newfound understanding of humanity's gift, he felt prepared to face whatever the galaxy might throw at them. The journey to Proxima B took 3 days in the alien ship. Tom spent most of that time looking out the viewing windows, amazed by the sight of stars streaking past like rain. Max stayed close by his side, equally fascinated by their first space journey. They weren't alone. The ship carried a small team of Earth's best animal experts. Jack, a wildlife tracker from Canada, Maria, a veterinarian from Brazil, and Pete, an animal behavior expert from Australia. Together, they made up humanity's first interstellar wildlife response team. "We're approaching Proxima B," announced the ship's pilot, their voice echoing through the cabin. "The farming colony should be visible soon." Tom and his team gathered at the window. The planet looked like Earth's bigger cousin. Blue oceans, green lands, and white clouds swirling across its surface. But as they got closer, they could see large, dark patches spreading across one of the continents. "Those dark areas," Ambassador Dal explained, pointing to the view, "were our most productive farming regions 3 months ago. Now they're completely destroyed." The ship landed near the main colony, a collection of dome-shaped buildings surrounded by vast fields, or what used to be fields. The land looked like it had been torn up by giant plows, with deep furrows cutting through the earth in strange patterns. What could do this much damage? Jack wondered aloud, kneeling to examine the torn ground. Their answer came sooner than expected. The ground beneath their feet started to vibrate. In the distance, something massive moved under the soil, like a whale swimming just beneath the ocean's surface. "Everyone stay still," Tom commanded, feeling Max tense beside him. The dog's ears were forward, but he wasn't showing signs of fear, just intense curiosity. The movement stopped about 50 feet away. Then, something extraordinary happened. A creature the size of a small bus emerged from the ground. It looked like a cross between an earthworm and a mole, with powerful front claws and a long, smooth body. Its skin shimmered with rainbow colors in the sunlight. The alien colonists backed away in fear, but Tom held his ground. He watched the creature's body language, noting how it moved its head from side to side, how its claws stayed relaxed rather than aggressive. "It's not here to attack," Tom said quietly. "It's trying to figure us out." Maria stepped forward, her trained eye scanning the creature. "Look at those claws," she whispered. "They're not weapons. They're digging tools. And those patterns in the fields aren't random destruction. They're paths." Pete finished her thought. "These creatures are following specific routes." Tom nodded, pieces of the puzzle clicking together. He turned to Ambassador Dal. "How long has this colony been here?" 3 Earth years, Dal replied. "We chose this location because of the fertile soil and good weather patterns. And these creatures never caused problems before. No, they appeared suddenly, 3 months ago, when we expanded the farming area." Tom shared a knowing look with his team. On Earth, they'd seen this kind of situation many times. Human development accidentally blocking ancient animal migration routes. The creature made a low humming sound, and to everyone's surprise, Max walked forward calmly. The dog and the alien animal regarded each other with peaceful curiosity. Tom could feel the absence of any aggression or fear between them. "They're not destroying your farms on purpose," Tom explained to the colonists. "These are probably ancient migration tunnels, used by these creatures for who knows how long. When you expanded the farms, you built right over their paths." Ambassador Dal's large eyes widened with understanding. "So they're just trying to follow their normal routes." "Exactly," Maria confirmed. "And based on their behavior, they seem quite intelligent. I bet we can work out a solution that helps both sides." The creature made its humming sound again, and this time, more of its kind emerged from the ground. They formed a semicircle, watching the humans with what looked like hope. Tom smiled. This was why they had been called here, not to fight or eliminate the creatures, but to understand them, to find a way for different species to live together in peace. Well, he said, pulling out his notepad, let's start mapping these migration routes. We've got some replanning to do. Over the next week, Tom and his team worked tirelessly to understand the creatures, which the colonists had started calling rainbow diggers because of their shimmering scales. Every morning, they would head out to the fields with their equipment, Max leading the way with his tail wagging happily. Look at this, Maria said one morning, pointing to a holographic map they'd created. The map showed a complex network of tunnels spreading across the continent like tree roots. These tunnels aren't just migration paths, they're an entire underground ecosystem. Tom watched as more rainbow diggers emerged from their tunnels, no longer afraid of the humans. Using a combination of careful observation and the colonists' scanning technology, they had made an amazing discovery. The creatures tunneling actually helped make the soil more fertile by mixing different layers of earth and spreading nutrients. They're not destroying the farms, Pete explained to the gathered colonists. In their own way, they've been farming this land for thousands of years. The solution began to take shape. Instead of fighting against the rainbow diggers, they would work with them. Tom and his team designed a new farm layout that left the main tunnel networks untouched while actually using the creatures' natural behavior to help crop growth. See how we can plant in these patterns. Tom showed Ambassador Dal the new field design. The crops will grow better near their tunnels because of the soil mixing. We just need to mark the tunnel areas and plant around them. The colonists were amazed. What they had seen as a disaster was turning into a blessing. The rainbow diggers seemed to understand they were being helped. They started appearing more often, watching the humans work with curious eyes. One morning, something extraordinary happened. A young rainbow digger approached Tom's team, carrying something in its claws. It gently placed the object on the ground, a strange, glowing crystal that seemed to pulse with inner light. It's a gift, Jack said softly. They're trying to communicate with us. Tom picked up the crystal carefully. As soon as he touched it, he felt a warm sensation in his mind, like a door opening. Suddenly, he could sense the rainbow diggers' feelings more clearly than ever before. They weren't just intelligent. They were a peaceful, ancient race that had lived on this planet for millions of years. The crystal was their way of sharing knowledge. Through it, they showed the humans the locations of other crystal deposits deep underground, valuable resources that could be safely mined without disturbing their tunnels. Ambassador Dahl was overwhelmed. In 3 years, we thought of them as pests to be eliminated. In 1 week, you humans have turned them into partners. How do you do it? We just try to understand them, Tom explained, watching as Max played gently with a baby rainbow digger. Every living thing has its own way of communicating. Sometimes you just need to be patient enough to learn their language. The success on Proxima B spread quickly through the galactic community. More colonies facing similar problems began requesting human help. Earth's wildlife experts were suddenly in high demand across the galaxy. Back in the main colony building, Tom and his team prepared their report for Earth. The holographic screen showed images of the new farm layout, with crops growing in beautiful spiral patterns around the tunnel networks. The rainbow diggers had even started helping the farmers, using their natural abilities to turn the soil exactly where needed. You know what's amazing? Maria said, looking out at the fields where humans, aliens, and rainbow diggers worked together. We came here thinking we needed to solve a conflict, but instead we found a whole new way of farming. Tom nodded, feeling the crystal's warm pulse in his pocket. They had done more than solve a crisis. They had shown the galaxy that sometimes the best solution isn't to fight against nature, but to learn from it. Ambassador Dal entered the room with exciting news. The Galactic Council wants to establish a permanent human advisory team here, he announced, and they're asking for your help with similar situations on other worlds. Tom looked at his team, then at Max, who wagged his tail in approval. Their mission on Proxima B was ending, but it seemed their real adventure was just beginning. The celebration of success on Proxima B was cut short by an unexpected visitor. Tom was working in the fields with the Rainbow Diggers when a new ship arrived. Unlike the smooth, bright vessels of the Galactic Federation, this one was dark and angular, like a shadow given form. Max growled softly beside Tom, his fur standing on end. The Rainbow Diggers quickly disappeared underground, their usual friendly behavior replaced by fear. "Something's wrong," Tom muttered, watching as three tall figures emerged from the ship. They wore black armor that seemed to absorb light, and their movements were stiff and mechanical. Ambassador Dal rushed out to meet them, but Tom could see worry in the aliens' usually calm eyes. "They're from the Order of Purity," Dal whispered to Tom as the figures approached. "A powerful group that believes in keeping species separate. They don't approve of what we're doing here." The leader of the group removed his helmet, revealing gray skin and eyes that glowed with an unnatural red light. "I am Commander Vex," he announced, his voice cold and sharp. "We are here to shut down this operation." Tom stepped forward. "On what grounds?" "On the grounds of protecting the natural order," Vex replied. "Your ability to communicate with animals is not natural. It is a danger to the galaxy." He pulled out a device that projected images into the air, ancient ruins on different worlds, civilizations long lost to time. "You are not the first species to have this gift," Vex continued. "Throughout history, others have appeared. Each time, they disrupted the balance between sentient and non-sentient life. Each time, they had to be removed." A chill ran down Tom's spine. "Are you saying you destroyed entire civilizations just because they could talk to animals?" "We preserved the natural order," Vex corrected. "And now history repeats itself. Your kind has been modified, tampered with by ancient beings who should have left evolution alone." Ambassador Dal moved between Tom and Vex. "The humans have done nothing wrong. They're helping solve problems across the galaxy. The Rainbow Diggers are meant to be simple beasts," Vex cut in. "Not partners, not friends. The galaxy has rules, Ambassador. When species blur the lines between sentient and non-sentient, chaos follows." Tom felt something warm in his pocket, the crystal the Rainbow Diggers had given him. It was pulsing faster now, almost like a warning. Max pressed against his leg, still growling softly. "You're wrong," Tom said firmly. "Communication isn't a threat. Understanding between species doesn't create chaos. It prevents it. Look at what we've accomplished here." Vex's eyes narrowed. "We've seen your kind's work spreading. More colonies requesting human help. More animals being elevated beyond their proper place. Soon you'll be revealing that so-called non-sentient creatures have been intelligent all along. The order we've maintained for millennia will crumble." "Maybe it should," Tom replied. "Maybe the order you're protecting is wrong." The commander raised his hand, and his soldiers stepped forward. "This is your only warning. Earth must cease all off-world animal communication activities. Return to your planet and stay there. If you refuse..." He left the threat hanging, but Tom understood. He thought about all the progress they'd made, all the possibilities for helping other worlds. They couldn't give up now. Deep underground, Tom felt more than heard a rumble. The Rainbow Diggers were moving, but not in fear this time. They were gathering, preparing. The crystal in his pocket grew warmer. "We won't be threatened," Tom declared. "Humanity's gift isn't a mistake or a dangerous power. It's a bridge between worlds, and we're going to keep using it to help others." Vex's face hardened. "Then you leave us no choice. The Order will take steps to protect the galaxy, even if Earth must share the fate of those who came before." As the commander turned to leave, Tom realized they had stumbled onto something much bigger than a simple farming crisis. There was a war coming, not fought with weapons, but with ideas about how different species should interact. And humanity had just been pushed to the front lines. 3 days after the Order's threat, Tom received an urgent message from a distant colony on a planet called Eden Prime. The message was simple but desperate. All life is dying. Please help. Despite the order's warning, Tom and his team couldn't ignore the call. Their ship arrived at Eden Prime to find a world in crisis. The once green planet was turning gray, its forests withering, its animals falling sick. "It's like the whole planet is giving up," Maria said as they surveyed the dying landscape. Even Max seemed subdued, his usual energy dampened by the sadness around them. The local scientists had tried everything. Their most advanced technology couldn't stop the decay. Plants wouldn't grow. Animals wouldn't breed. The planet's complex web of life was unraveling thread by thread. Then Tom noticed something strange. In his pocket, the Rainbow Digger's crystal was pulsing again, but with a different rhythm. It felt almost like it was trying to tell him something. "Look at this," he called to his team. The crystal's light was changing color when he pointed it in certain directions, growing brightest when aimed toward a distant mountain range. They followed the crystal's guidance, traveling through valleys of dying trees and past dried-up rivers. Max kept his nose to the ground, picking up scents that only he could detect. The deeper they went into the mountains, the more the crystal pulsed. "Stop," Jack suddenly called out. "Listen." In the silence, they heard it, a deep, low sound, almost too quiet to hear. It reminded Tom of the humming the Rainbow Diggers made, but much, much bigger. The crystal led them to a cave entrance. Inside, they found something extraordinary. A massive creature lay curled in the darkness, like a giant dragon made of crystal and light. But it was clearly sick, its natural glow fading. "It's a guardian," Ambassador Dell whispered in awe. The ancient records spoke of them, beings that helped maintain the balance of life on their worlds. "We thought they were just legends." Tom stepped closer, feeling a connection through the crystal in his hand. The guardian's eyes opened, glowing softly. Through the crystal, Tom could sense its pain and exhaustion. The Order, Tom realized. They didn't just try to eliminate species that could talk to animals. They tried to separate all higher life forms from each other. They broke the connections that kept worlds like this alive. The Guardian's thoughts touched Tom's mind through the crystal. It showed him images of a time when all life on the planet worked together in harmony. The Guardian helped maintain that balance, but the Order's interference had weakened it, and now the whole planet was paying the price. "We can help," Tom said to the Guardian. "Humans, animals, plants, we're all connected. That's not a mistake to be fixed. It's how life is supposed to work." He turned to his team. "Maria, start setting up medical equipment. Pete, contact the colony for support. Jack, we need to survey the surrounding area. This Guardian isn't just sick. It's lonely. There must be others." Over the next few days, they worked tirelessly. The Guardian grew stronger as they treated it, using a combination of Earth medicine, alien technology, and their unique ability to communicate with all forms of life. More Guardians were found in other mountains, each one weakened but still alive. As the Guardians recovered, so did the planet. Green began returning to the forests. Animals grew stronger. The web of life started repairing itself. The Order was wrong, Ambassador Dell said, watching new flowers bloom in what had been dead soil just days ago. "Separation doesn't protect life, it destroys it. Everything needs to be connected." But their success wouldn't go unnoticed. Tom knew the Order would come, and this time they wouldn't just make threats. Looking at the recovered Guardian, now glowing with renewed strength, Tom made a decision. Humanity's gift wasn't just about talking to animals anymore. It was about restoring the natural bonds between all living things, bonds that should never have been broken. "Send a message to Earth," he told Ambassador Dell. "It's time to show the galaxy what unity really means." The Order's attack fleet arrived exactly as Tom had expected, just before dawn on Eden Prime. 50 black ships filled the sky, their weapons ready, but Earth wasn't defenseless this time. The entire Galactic Federation had rallied to humanity's side. "This is your final warning." Commander Vex's voice boomed across the planet. "Surrender your abilities, or we will take action." Tom stood calmly on a hilltop, Max at his side, watching the sunrise. Behind him, thousands of humans had gathered. Animal experts, wildlife specialists, and ordinary people who understood the importance of their gift. The rainbow diggers had come too, emerging from new tunnels they'd built across Eden Prime. "No," Tom replied simply. "We won't surrender what makes us human. And we're not alone." At his signal, the Guardians emerged from their mountains, not just the ones from Eden Prime, but others from across the galaxy, drawn by humanity's call. They rose into the sky, their crystalline bodies glowing with renewed power. The Order's ships opened fire, but their weapons passed harmlessly through strange barriers of light. The Guardians were protecting them. On the ground, the rainbow diggers began their work, their tunneling creating complex patterns that made the Earth itself pulse with energy. "What is this?" Vex demanded, his voice showing fear for the first time. "This is balance," Tom answered. "This is what happens when all living things work together instead of staying apart." Around the planet, animals of all kinds emerged from forests and oceans. Birds filled the sky, sea creatures leaped from the waves, and land animals gathered in vast numbers. But they weren't attacking. They were connecting. The crystal from Proxima B glowed brightly in Tom's hand. Through it, he could feel the web of life spanning not just this world, but reaching out to others. Humans across the galaxy were doing the same thing on countless planets, awakening ancient connections that the Order had tried to break. "Your weapons can't fight this," Tom called out to Vex. "Because this isn't a war. It's a reunion. Every living thing in the galaxy is meant to be connected. Humans didn't get this ability by accident. We kept it alive when others forgot." The Guardians began to sing, their crystal bodies creating music that touched every living soul. The Order's ships started powering down, their crews overwhelmed by the feeling of connection they'd denied for so long. Commander Vex's ship landed, and he emerged looking shaken. "We only wanted to keep order," he said quietly. "Order doesn't mean separation," Tom replied. "Real order comes from understanding each other. That's what humanity has been trying to show you." The sun rose fully, illuminating a scene unlike any in galactic history. Humans, aliens, animals, and Guardians all standing together. The rainbow diggers surfaced to create one final tunnel pattern, a spiral that spread out from the hilltop like a growing tree, symbolizing the connections that bound all life together. Ambassador Dell stepped forward with an announcement. "The Galactic Federation has decided. Earth will become the center for a new organization, the Interstellar Wildlife and Environmental Conservation Program. All species will learn from humanity's gift, not to control nature, but to understand it." Tom looked at Max, who wagged his tail happily. The dog had known all along what the aliens were just learning. That friendship between species was the most natural thing in the universe. In the months that followed, Earth's forests and parks became filled with alien visitors, learning the human way of connecting with animals. The Order disbanded, its members joining the effort to restore the ancient bonds between species. The Guardians returned to their worlds, but now they worked openly with humans to maintain the balance of life. Tom stood in his old wildlife center, now expanded to include creatures from across the galaxy. A young alien child was learning to speak with a puppy, while overhead, birds from 3 different worlds flew together in perfect harmony. "You know what, Max?" Tom said to his faithful companion. "Sometimes the greatest adventures don't come from exploring space. They come from exploring the connections between all living things." Max barked in agreement as a new group of students, human and alien alike, arrived for their first lesson in understanding the universal language of life.